What's up guys, Sean here, and today we're going to talk about the United Kingdom and how it's no longer a free country. Okay, so as many of you know, Tommy Robinson was recently arrested for live streaming outside of a British courthouse.
No, Oh, they do it in prison. I know, you've been in there.
Just got out.
You just got out. What was it like?
Shit.
Oh, this is really quick 2 minutes with these.
Are you going to arrest me?
Michael is going to explain what's going to happen next, right?
Am I being arrested?
You are being arrested.
I am being arrested.
Causing a breach of peace.
I've caused a breach of peace. I'm being arrested.
But the content of what you're
Can we just say
streaming.
The content of what I'm streaming, I'm being arrested for breach of the peace. I'm being arrested for breach of the peace. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Can you just turn off your live feed?
Can you get me a solicitor?
Turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah?
Do you understand what I've just said to you?
No, can you explain it again?
You're under arrest on suspicion causing a breach of the peace.
What does that mean? 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 What does that mean?
In terms of legal and illegal, Tommy Robinson was clearly doing something that was against the law. In fact, he had been arrested for this previously and was on probation for it. That being said, the law that he was arrested under is absurd on its face. It basically bars the media from covering any trial if that coverage could somehow affect the jury's decision-making process. Now, in the United States, we have a jury system, and we have a system to limit information from the media that the jurors might receive. However, that limiting of information does not affect the general public. Essentially, what is done in the United States is for high-profile trials, jurors are sequestered, which means that they themselves are barred from receiving outside information about the trial while they're serving their role as a juror. That makes sense because jurors have a unique responsibility that everyday citizens and the media don't have. However, this isn't the only thing that the United Kingdom has backwards, and post-Brexit, things have gotten a lot worse in the once great nation. The United Kingdom was the birthplace of Enlightenment thinkers, the birthplace of the idea of free speech, the Magna Carta, the right to a fair trial, and unfortunately all those ideas and principles that are the foundation of modern Western civilizations seem to be eroding in the United Kingdom. I want to talk a little bit more about Tommy Robinson in a little bit, but I want to give you guys a little overview of the United Kingdom so that you can understand the context in which his arrest happened. You guys are probably familiar with the arrest and trial of Carl Meacham, aka Count Dankula, for teaching his dog as a joke to give the Nazi salute.
My girlfriend is always ranting and raving about how cute and adorable her wee dog is. And so I thought I would turn them into the least cute thing that I could think of, which is a Nazi.
Sieg Heil! Sieg Heil!
Now, as absurd as the arrest of Dankula was for this obvious joke, he was actually convicted and sentenced to a fine. We also had YouTuber and journalist Lauren Southern be stopped at the border and banned from the United Kingdom under the Terrorism Act because she wanted to come to the country to interview Tommy Robinson. The same happened for Brittany Pennybone and one other person. And that's because much like social media companies are doing post-Trump in the United States of America, post-Brexit, the United Kingdom is cracking down on what they deem to be right-wing speech that may lead to things like Brexit. In fact, one of the reasons all these people are considered hate speakers and dangerous right-wing extremists is due to their coverage of Islamic rape gangs in the United Kingdom. One of the reasons Tommy Robinson was arrested at that courthouse is because he was covering a trial of these Islamic rape gangs. And even when you speak factually about this story and the things that actually happened, you are considered not politically correct and in danger of being prosecuted. The primary reason why these grooming gangs were allowed to operate for so long is that the police were actively covering up for them because the police thought that upon inspection, the disproportionality of their arrests would lead them to be called racist. No, you did not mishear me. The police department, the people that are supposed to protect you, decided it was better to let children be sold into human trafficking than to arrest the people doing it, because if you arrested the people doing it and they were disproportionately Islamic, then the police department might look racist. Even though they're not doing any racial profiling, they're just arresting the people that are doing the crimes. Of course, the ironic thing about this non-law enforcement strategy is that when you let a certain group of people engage in a specific type of criminality for 20 or 30 years, when the thing finally does come crashing down, people are going to think that that group of people is more prone to that criminal activity. I mean, that's basic logic that anybody should be able to figure out. If you would have nipped this in the bud when it was a small problem, you wouldn't be in a situation where there's this highly profitable system of human trafficking that has recruited more and more people over the decades that you've been ignoring it. Unfortunately, the United Kingdom is not too concerned about the welfare of children and stopping human trafficking and stopping these grooming gangs. What they're actually concerned about is stopping you from speaking out and stopping you from being quote-unquote Islamophobic. Mayor Sadiq Khan is a darling of the left-wing media. He is the first Muslim mayor of London ever. And a lot of people are happy about that. And on its own, being the first Muslim mayor of London, not a bad thing at all. However, when you're a terrible mayor like Sadiq Khan is, and London is now the capital of acid attacks, and you have to propose knife control because there's so many stabbings in your city, then your job as mayor is going to come into question. Now, part of the reason why acid attacks are becoming more and more common and London's crime rate is ticking up is because Sadiq Khan is a super progressive mayor. He looked at the outcomes of certain crime data and decided that the reason those outcomes were disproportionate was not due to the fact that there was disproportionate criminal activity, but solely due to racism. And as mayor, he began ending certain police practices that were shown to reduce crime. Now, of course, he was horribly wrong. It turns out that most policing activity is done to police and is not done to racially profile, and crime rates started ticking up. Which brings us to a fundamental philosophical question. If you're a mayor of a city, and you have problems like ISIS fighters that went to Syria to fight with ISIS moving back to your city, acid attacks exploding across your city, stabbings going up, and terrorism, what do you tackle first? I'll give you some time to think about that one. Write down your answer in the comments below and find out if you're right in about 3 seconds. The actual response to all of that is to fly to America and go on Jimmy Kimmel and read some of the mean Islamophobic tweets that you get online from online meanies and racists.
I say kill the Mayor of London and you will be rid of one Muslim terrorist. Got the others? Muslims need to be shot or hanged. The mayor is doing nothing about attacks. Muslims have no dignity. I wish Sadiq Khan would just blow himself up like they all do. He might get his 12 virgins. As Mayor of London, I wish someone would build a fire and throw you on it, you useless sack of shit. If you use a knife to mutilate your daughter's vagina, will the full force of the law be brought down on you? Asking for a Muslim. There's an easy solution for terrorism. Deport the Muslims, starting with your pathetic self.
Now look, I'm not saying that you should tweet the mayor of London racist and Islamophobic things because he's doing a bad job as mayor. What I'm saying is, he's doing a bad job as mayor. I don't care what his religion is. I don't care what his ethnic origin is. The fact is that his policies are destructive to the city of London. If they were not destructive to the city of London, I wouldn't be talking about the guy. But unfortunately, this is a recurring theme in the United Kingdom. Political correctness preventing policing from occurring, and the censoring of speech. About 6 people every single day are arrested for mean things that they write online in the United Kingdom. 6 a day, in a nation that tops all Western countries with sending the most ISIS fighters to Syria. And this is the thought I want to leave you with. Imagine in the United States of America, if there were a series of hate crimes being covered up by American police departments. And after 20, 30, 40 years, it was revealed that the police were covering up these hate crimes because they wanted to hide racism within the white communities that they were policing. Imagine that there was virtually no media coverage for these hate crimes, and the only people actually talking about it were people like Sean King. Now imagine after all this was revealed to the public, a judge ordered that no media outlets could cover it. And then an independent journalist was arrested in front of the courthouse for covering these hate crimes and trying to expose racism in our society. What would be the level of outrage on the left and within the mainstream media if this occurred? Yet when it's Tommy Robinson and the perpetrators are Islamic and the victims are non-Islamic, nobody seems to care. There's virtually no national media coverage. Virtually nobody on the left in the United Kingdom or in this country is condemning this. In fact, a lot of them are celebrating Tommy Robinson's arrest. I live in a country where every single day people call the president fascist and say that he's going after the media and he's going to shut them down, when all he does is call them names. Yet these same people who consider themselves defenders of the free press, defenders of journalism, defenders of the rights to freedom of speech, are celebrating Tommy Robinson's arrest. They want policies like they have in the UK. And they don't care whose rights get violated and who gets hurt in order to have a more politically correct world. Anyway, that's all I really have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to my patrons, Pepe Loves Trump, Louis Cool Dance, Mike Barbarossa, Michael, Apollo Legend, and my newest patron, Alexander. But double special thank you to Chelsea, who upped her pledge from $1 to $10. You are my #1 patron, therefore I think I must serve you in some way. And if you guys want to message me and request videos, etc., consider becoming a patron. This has been me talking about the fall of the UK. Till next time.